Snorkel. Seashells, Redneck Riviera, Floribama.
What are you playing, dude?
Oh, I'm working on my aquatic jazz.
What is aquatic jazz?
What? It's like stuff that has to do with the sea. You know, like this. Somewhere
Oh, okay. Yeah.
beneath the sea.
Somewhere waiting for me.
I got you. And we'll go sailing.
I'm not sure that.
Sailing,
Can we maybe try something hipper that's aquatic? You know.
Seashells. Yeah, baby. Oh, you want something else?
Yes, please.
Okay, how about this?
Yes.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Music Explored.
Explored, brought to you today by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com for your jazz lesson needs.
Yes, sir, I will. I like that. We got somewhere else for him to go too, right?
We do indeed.
Yes.
So if you're one of our dear You'll Hear It listeners / viewers, you probably have an opinion on this podcast.
I do.
I know you do. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll give you a chance to pick up a nice prize.
Ooh.
You like prizes?
I like prizes. I like Sir prizes.
You are not eligible for
sorry. Okay.
prize or surprise.
But all the dear listeners are.
So they certainly
Okay.
are. There'll be more details at the end of this episode, so hang around to the end for that.
That's right.
Peter
I like
Martin.
It. Yes, sir.
It's a big one today.
This is a big one.
I
know.
mean, they're all
Have we
big.
ever said that before?
Never.
No, but look, you know
This
what?
is the real big one.
We don't even have to explain ourselves. Look, boom.
Come on.
Boom, roasted. Done. Mic drop.
Maiden Voyage.
Now let's explain it.
Okay. Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage.
I love just touching this. Sue me. I love to touch this
album
album
itself?
Yeah, because it's a cool album.
It's tactile.
I love LPs, but it just takes you to another
that.
place. You know, we're gonna get to the accoutrements of
Remember when we were a great country and we had back of album covers like
You know what I
that?
mean?
That was
With liner notes, you know.
We used to make things in this country. Like Maiden Voyage.
But it's like this is a piece of art, right?
That's
you know, and it's
gorgeous,
not
yeah.
just this, it's the sounds. It doesn't matter if you're listening on Spotify. You don't have to be bougie and have an LP like us. But I mean, it's just like what this represents and all the sounds and the memories, you know, past, present, as in today, and future, I would say. All right, Adam, I want you to picture something here.
Okay.
Okay, we got a little music, a little time machine bubble's going to come down on us. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
It's 1963.
Okay.
Herbie Hancock is a young man, 22 years old, in New York City.
Yeah.
On his way to being an established member of the jazz scene. He starts hearing rumors that Miles Davis, ever heard of him?
Yes.
Wants him for his band.
Could you imagine?
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Be amazing.
Now, by this time, Miles is obviously already an absolute legend. So Herbie doesn't really believe the rumors. He wants to, but he's like, yeah, right. But one day, his phone rings, and it's Miles Davis.
Hey.
On a landline. Remember those? I wonder if
Yes.
you would have had to like call an opera. I guess you could direct dial.
Yeah.
It'd be like Stafford 7344 is Mr. Herbie
But
Hancock.
you still had to do the shunk kind
Dude,
of.
I was doing that in some
The
I was a
rotary
teenager.
phone.
Yeah. Anyway, so Miles Davis is on the phone and he says, "Come over." He doesn't say what. He's just like, "Come over to my crib."
All right.
All right. When Herbie gets there, there's a 17-year-old drummer, Tony Williams, already there. Bass player by the name of Ron Carter. Ever heard of him?
Friend of the pod.
Right. Future Sir Ron Carter. George Coleman, the tenor saxophonist, and Miles Davis, of course. They were already all there. So they all started playing together. No idle chit-chat. Miles was not big on idle chit-chat, just music. But after just a few minutes, Miles says some kind of curse word, according to Herbie.
No.
Yeah. and throws his trumpet on the couch and just takes off upstairs. He disappears for a while as the band practices in Miles's living room. Turns out Miles was spying on them and listening the whole time from upstairs.
Davis was such an eccentric man.
He had a house phone. Do you remember house phones?
Yeah, of course.
No, you don't. I don't. Oh, you do?
Intercom system.
Yeah, intercom.
Yeah.
What did
I say? Intercom system?
Yeah, well,
that was what we had in High Ridge. Intercom. It was just
had a little bit of a nefarious. Yeah, so he had some kind of intercom. So he's listening to what they're playing. They did this for 3 days. Just come over, play, Miles listening, dropping a little bit. They practice in Miles's living room. Miles comes in and out and disappears for very long stretches. And on the final day, Miles says, on Monday, we got to meet at the record studio.
Amazing.
Herbie's like, does that mean I'm in the band? That's totally, man, I would.
I know.
Herbie's like confident. I like that.
Yeah. But Miles famously never very transparent about if you were in or out, you know?
Right. And Miles responds, this is a direct quote from Herbie Hancock.
Go for it.
You're making the record, motherfucker.
There we go.
So a few days later, they were in the studio recording this.
Hey. 7 Steps to Heaven.
7 Steps to Heaven.
Yeah.
Herbie Hancock, Tony Williams. Woo! Great piano sound on this, a little foreshadowing. Oh, great drum sound. Hold on.
Wait, so you can have a great piano sound and a great drum sound? That's possible?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think it was.
Yeah, we'll get
by
back
the
to
way,
that.
that's 7 Steps to Heaven. It's a Victor Feldman composition.
Right.
Who's also on the album.
Right.
On different tracks. Can you imagine
But not on this track.
Not on this track.
Right,
They gave
right.
it to Herbie. It's great.
Yeah, they recorded that stuff on the West Coast. This, of course, was in New York. And so really this association with Miles Davis, which would go on be super fruitful for years, even during, it's like, why are we talking about Miles Davis? He's not on this record. But this kind of became the backdrop for Herbie. He'd already made a couple of records on Blue Note, and between this time of hooking up with Miles, Embry Isles, of course, but then it comes to Maiden Voyage, sort of his, would we say his classiest aquatic project ever recorded by Herbie Hancock?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't
aquatic project.
It is.
But there was this aquatic era.
I'm going to read you it was, it was the age of Aquarius, perhaps.
Oh.
I want to read you because Herbie Hancock, okay, first of all, shout out to liner notes. Can we get back to the days of this?
Bro.
You know what I'm saying?
You are not lying. Look at that.
We'll have to get back to musicians learning how to read. That'll be one thing. But you don't want to attach yourself to
Shots
that.
fired.
No, I just want to read you the beginning of the main liner notes are great, written by Nora Kelly, but Herbie has his own little thing at the beginning. The sea has often stirred the imagination of creative minds involved in all spheres of art. There still exists an element of mystery which surrounds the sea and the living aquatic creatures which provide it with its vital essence. Atlantis, the Sargasso Sea, giant serpents, and mermaids are only a few of the many folkloric mysteries which have evolved through man's experiences with the sea. Hold up, didn't Herbie grow up in Chicago on Lake Michigan?
What are you talking about? Lake Michigan? I was going to say.
He must have read a lot because he wasn't getting all that from the lake. This music attempts to capture its vastness and majesty, the splendor of a seagoing vessel on its maiden voyage, the graceful beauty of the playful dolphins, the constant struggle for survival of even the tiniest sea creatures, and the awesome destructive power of the hurricane, nemesis of seamen. That's Herbie Hancock.
Somebody was just reading Moby Dick.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Age 24. But I mean, making that connections, that kind of a setup. I remember when I first got into Herbie and got this record. It wasn't the first time I'd heard Herbie. But I remember reading the liner notes and being like, WTF. This was really, this was an atmospheric, this is a concept album, which wasn't really being done a whole lot. It was a little bit on Blue Note.
Yeah. Certainly
some prestige stuff in a way. Incredible playing. We're going to have a lot of fun with this today. I love this record.
I also love this record. I have a long history of loving this record. This is one of the first jazz albums I ever bought. I think it was in at least the first 10 that I bought because, you have friends who are like, check out Herbie Hancock, check out Maiden Voyage, check out Empyrean Isles. I love this record now. The older I get and the more I've listened to, this is the Miles Davis quintet without Miles, essentially, with Freddie instead of Miles from that era, with George Coleman and Ron Carter and Anthony Williams, and Freddie Hubbard is on the trumpet role, which I think it's a whole other thing.
Yes.
Just replacing Miles in that chair, or using someone else besides Miles, even with the whole band the same around, that, that trumpet, Freddie Hubbard has such a distinct sound that I think, to me, it really makes this album something special. It's
Yes.
like when you get to hear, or it's like when you get to see like one of your favorite like baseball players that you've always liked, and they come to your team,
right?
And then they're all of a sudden they're like playing first base, and they're the cleanup hitter, and you get to watch them at bat for the first time. You're like, what is this going to be like?
Right.
You know. So I love this. I also am fascinated with the fact that Herbie calls Maiden Voyage, the tune Maiden Voyage, his the best song that he's ever written. He's written so many incredible compositions.
I know,
incredible, like dozens and dozens that we could play off the top of our heads, because there's so many of them. They're all part of the jazz canon. And the fact that he picks Maiden Voyage, which is perhaps his most simple, or at least up there with most simple melodies and chord progressions and forms, I think says a lot.
Yeah, and the most complex thing about it is just played one time and repeated, and that's the rhythmic pattern. And we're going to get into sort of the genesis of that.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's the thing that kind of holds it all together. As you say, harmonically, very interesting with all these sus chords, but not a lot of them. The melody, super simple, but beautiful. Let's take a little bit of a listen to it. A little gander, a little acoustic gander.
The first track on the album.
Yeah, Maiden Voyage. Tony's already like loosening it up.
Establishing the looseness is what I was thinking exactly.
The phrasing together. Freddie, George Coleman, Freddie Hubbard.
So relaxed too. Intonation
it's like they're breathing together.
Spot on. Yeah. Phrasing is spot on.
And then it's got this floating, lilting thing.
And Herbie and Ron are just holding that rhythm.
Bridge. Dynamics. Man, I remember listening to this, looking at this picture, I was just like...
It captures you. It really captures
That's a Hobie on Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
That's Herbie on a Hobie, Lake Michigan. No, probably not.
That's great.
Could be.
Herbie on a Hobie.
So that last A section, this is AABA form. It's just like expansive with that sus.
The great George Coleman, still with us.
Yes. I think he's 90, I believe.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah. He's 29 on this record. Herbie's comping. Okay, so
great solo, by the way.
I think this might be, we might need to have a new category or a new listing, a little offline listing of perfect solos. Like, I think that I think that's not the only way to make a great solo is to do it perfectly, but I think that was kind of a specialty of George Coleman. Now, what do I mean by perfect? I mean, there's nothing where you could be like, oh, he tried to do this, but he didn't quite get it, but he went to something else cool, or he kind of like, took him a second to get in there. So there's the danger with the perfect solo, and I've definitely fallen into this trap where it's like antiseptic sounding.
Yeah, of course.
Or it's just like simplistic, or you're not really, but he's going for stuff. Right? But like there's nothing, there's just like everything is placed like he crafted this or played the phrase and then really sat and went and wrote for an hour. Let me come up with the next phrase. Now he didn't. This was just straight through. And there's actually some alternate takes on here that you can explore, and he was a master of doing different kinds of solos. Now, did he never make a mistake on other things? Yeah, maybe a little bit here and there. But I mean, George Coleman has been known as like a master, and not coming out with a perfectly uninteresting solo. It's super interesting. He's going for stuff. He just had that imagination, the agility, his harmonic knowledge, and like ways of manipulating or kind of weaving in and out of on these sus chords with the bebop vocabulary, but it's still being very modern. And then, of course, you know, intonation, his tone, his phrasing, the dynamics off the charts.
I mean, just in that brief solo, which I believe is just one chorus, isn't it?
I think it's two.
Maybe two choruses. But he shows us like all these different kinds of phrases.
Yeah.
Right? There's a change-up pitch. There's a fastball. I don't know why I'm doing so many baseball metaphors today. But there's all of these different kinds of textures that he's giving us in that solo. It's all very relaxed, all very melodic, very lyrical.
Yeah.
And just adding to like the atmosphere of what is already a very atmospheric song.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But he's right in there. And then Herbie will play some, choppy chord.
Yeah.
And then George Coleman will kind of answer with this like, and he'll do these like flourishes, and then he'll do this like, like this straight bebop-ish line, and then these long tones, and with an incredible sound too, by the way. Like underrated sound on that tenor saxophone.
Beautiful sound, beautiful
gorgeous sound.
But it's like his whole playing, like wouldn't you say his intonation and his sound is kind of perfect too?
Yeah.
Like some people, like a knock on it could be that it's too perfect. Like where is the grit but like the way that he improvises and tells the story, that is where the grit is. Like that's where the rub is. Like that's where the interest to it is, because it's not just, boring phrases perfectly executed one after another. Like it all kind of links together. Like you say, it was like this one chorus. Like that's the best thing. I think it might even be more than two choruses. I'm not sure, but it felt like that's what you want a great solo to feel like, is one chorus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, actually some quibble bits on a couple of these tracks here. Some folks might be playing a little long,
We'll hear about that in a minute.
All these tracks are long. I mean, Maiden Voyage, this is 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of George Coleman's playing, like, I think every note has its place. It's just perfect. And it's just interesting. And that way of playing is not for everybody. Freddie's not a perfect player because he's going for stuff. He's cacking. I mean, he's very, very technically astute, especially on this record. So it's not to say that, like, he's falling short. It's just different. And that variety, that diversity, I think is great.
But Freddie is always on the high wire.
Yeah.
For us.
Right.
He's doing it for us. Like, Freddie is a trapeze artist. He's taking risks.
Yeah.
He's flying through the air. He's going for it. He is an incredible musician.
Yeah.
Technically. So he's able to pull off almost everything he does. But you're right. There's something a little bit, I think, a stroke of genius of having George Coleman start off this whole album.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, the thing is, like, it's crazy because George Coleman's going for stuff too. It's just he's pulling it all off, He's
effortlessly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit, and then we're going to later on get into the into Freddie's solo, because I think that might show up as an apex moment for one of us.
It's an incredible moment.
Yeah.
Herbie's solo too.
Yeah. But they all work together. You know what I mean? For these 8 minutes, like we can pick them apart, and like I'm saying, we all work together. We're not listening to them all together. That's your homework, to do the most beautiful, glorious homework for our dear listeners. But I would say that, like, you take this kind of solo, and then you take Freddie's solo, and then you take Herbie's solo. That's the whole journey. That's the whole aquatic dream that Herbie puts together. But it really starts from this rhythm.
Yeah.
And that continues throughout. They never leave that. It never goes dang, dang, gang. They don't go to a walking thing. Like, this is going throughout it. So yes, there's the harmony too. And just like to nerd out a little bit, to jump back into the nerd nook for a second. Those are all sus chords. Every single chord on here. And that just means you don't have to be able to play piano or whatever to understand this. It's that sound. It's that floating. It's not minor. Although it does go to kind of some minor-y sus type of stuff too, but it's got this nebulous kind of feel that floats and gives the improviser and the player. It's optimistic, but it's a little bit forlorn.
It's
too,
unsettled.
Maybe. It's unsettled, but not in a well, in the bridge it gets to a little bit of.
It's not in a disturbing way.
It's a little disturbing on the bridge.
It's like unsettled in the way that a watercolor is Unsettled, where there's no defined line.
Right. It's not, and like this album cover kind of, it's like that. It's a little bit out of focus, but it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
There's a way you could look at it and also be a little sad, right?
It's beautiful, but you're also a little bit like, yeah, but what is life really? And
right, because it's not major, it's major-ish, right? But it's just for listeners, it's like harmony. That's the beauty of like harmony. What can these different chords evoke? If we jump into the bridge, it gets a little bit, nope, can't jump there. My bad. So jumping to the bridge. Still sus, right? But getting a little bit.
All these chords are sus.
Yeah.
But Freddie's note here.
Minor sus, yeah. And the way that, you know, Tony's accenting, but then back to a little optimism. So the C's got a little bit. Also, unsettled for a second.
Let's not discount that. Like we've got these sort of unsettled watercolor kind of chords, but the melody itself is just 5-1-1.
Right,
like,
right.
It's like the fundamental tones of the key.
Yeah.
Da da 5-1, like da da va da va, do 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 woo. Right, which is the 5 of the next chord.
Exactly.
It's like really grounds it. Which is sometimes it's the opposite, where you just got like the one chord and the melody's doing interesting stuff on the 9 or the, you know, these like colorful tones of the scale. But this is the opposite. The melody is like on the 1.
Right.
And the chords themselves are these ambiguous sus chords.
It's a very well-balanced song. It's like one of Herbie's, as we talk about, simplest songs. Like his biggest hit songs, standards that people love to play are super simple. But when you look at the architecture and stuff, like this is great jazz for musicians and for the masses.
This will always be in my repertoire. And I know it's like, can be kind of like a drag at a jam session to call Maiden Voyage, because it can get out of hand.
It can get out of hand.
You can have people doing 10 choruses of this.
And people be messing it up too.
People don't know how to treat it sometimes. Like it's like So What or Mr. PC or Impressions, like the modal tunes where it's like if you don't know what you're doing, keep it short.
Right. But it looks like on the lead sheet, it looks so easy that a lot of people play it. Yeah. And like the diverging, you know, the melodies in unison between trumpet and saxophone on the A sections. It's the AABA form. But the bridge, they diverge, right? Yeah. That's so important. And people don't do that at jam sessions. They're just like playing it together or whatever. When you have a simple tune like this, the details matter because there's not a lot of them. You know what I mean?
That's right. Know the parts.
Exactly.
Learn Herbie's.
Well, I like that. You got dogmatic there.
I occasionally do. Also, take the time to learn Herbie's voicings here. They're not complicated. They're easy to hear. You know, piano sound's not the greatest, as we'll talk about later.
Oh, really?
But you can transcribe these voicings pretty
That's
clearly.
right. So, okay, this tune came to Herbie in January of '65 on a flight to Los Angeles. He was actually going out to record with the Miles Davis Quintet. They would become E.S.P, one of their great kind of early, sort of beginning of the mid period of this great quintet with Wayne Shorter on saxophone now, no longer George Coleman. And they had some gigs, and you know they were going to kind of try out some of this new music. And Miles told everybody in the band, "Bring any tunes that you have," right? And so when he was on the plane, he had this idea for a tune, and it was based around this rhythm with a sus chord. It was like dun dun dun. And he's on the plane, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to write it down on a. I love that rhythm. And he like pictured the whole thing. He wrote it down. He's like, "Oh, this is going to be great." And then he went to sleep, and then he got up off the flight. He was all excited, and then he got to the studio, and then he was like, "Where's the rhythm?" And he couldn't remember the rhythm.
Oh no!
And he's like, "Oh well," but it's Herbie Hancock. He's got a lot of really good ideas.
He's like, another idea will come.
Yeah, exactly. So that's part of the reason they didn't record the tune at that session. But a couple months later, that was January and March, they did record it. And the way that he remembered it was they did a tune called 81? Yeah, written by Ron Carter. He did bring it to the session. And towards the end of that track, so this is like the end of the melody.
The Killing Him.
Yeah. You know, like a lot of stuff during this period, there was kind of this nebulous fade out where they're just vibing with the rhythm section.
Listen to what Ron Carter's doing here, too. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah.
Listen to that.
Yeah. So when they went into this and Herbie's playing that rhythm, he was like, oh, that's the rhythm. But he still wasn't sure what it was from. So apparently he went in there listening back and he's like, oh, that's the tune I left on the airplane. And so then he came up with, but then even with that, it was just
I wonder what Ron Carter would say about that.
Right. I wrote that tune. No. Well, he definitely wrote the bass line. I mean, you can hear him playing it there.
I just want to take a brief detour on Maestro Ron Carter for a second. Because just hearing that and realizing how much of Maiden Voyage is coming out of Ron's bass in 81.
Of course.
And how many countless bass lines have we talked about this, where Ron is basically writing some of the most memorable parts of these compositions in the studio for these guys, for everybody that he's playing with.
Well, remember how we first met Mr. Ron Carter was when we did a podcast about the greatest bass lines of all time, and somehow like 3 of the top 7 happened to be
like we didn't 4 of 7 were Ron Carter bass lines.
Ron Carter playing the bass line and probably creating many of those as well.
But this is how impactful a great bass line can be to your song, and just listening to Maiden Voyage and then listening to that ending of 81. Yeah, it's Herbie's playing that rhythm, but you immediately hear Ron Carter go like boom, bum, 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 doom, boom, boom. Like a very similar thing he's going to do on Maiden Voyage, but I'm just always blown away by how much of an impact that musician specifically, Ron Carter, has had on all the music he's been a part of, and oftentimes he's not going to get the glory as in the bass chair that other musicians might, but he's so important.
Right. So the other part of this with the melody and being so simple, they came together. So he had that rhythm, he had the sus kind of thing. He was commissioned to write a commercial for Fabergé. Remember them? Brut by Fabergé.
Fabergé eggs?
No, Fabergé cologne.
Okay.
Right. Eau de cologne, right? And, so he knew it had to be something really simple melodically. But he didn't want to, and he knew he couldn't do like ding, ding, like jazzy, swingy stuff, or even like kind of so he wanted to come up with some sort of a groove. So that was really the impetus for it, for the Maiden Voyage groove. And then
this was for a commercial.
Yes, it was for a commercial originally written.
Y'all are too snobby out there.
Yeah, exactly. Jazz musicians, don't like when you get the call for something, don't be like, I'm too good for that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Herbie's writing like
he's 24 years old.
Artistic classics here. For Fabergé cologne ads.
Right. It was some good ass cologne probably though.
Probably.
Back then. Probably was all sorts of stuff that would give you rashes.
Hell yeah.
But give you hookups too. Hookups and rashes.
Smelled great with like Pall Mall cigarettes. And
oh, what a time. Well, we were both born in the 70s, by the way. We don't know what we're talking about. But the idea was, so he had the melody, and then he had that other kind of bridge part. But with the commercial stuff, are they even going to go there? But he couldn't figure out how to finish the tune. And so, like, the night before the recording session, or before it was due, he couldn't wrap his head around how to end the song. He got frustrated and gave up and went to bed. His then girlfriend, girlfriend Gigi, he's been married to shortly thereafter, been together for many years, incredible woman, his partner, she kicked him out of bed. Because she was like, did you finish the tune? He's like, no, I'll figure it out later. She's like, no, go finish the tune.
Go get that Fabergé money.
Yeah, get it together. So begrudgingly, he went back to the piano. Suddenly it struck him the first 2 chords should be the last 2 chords. And that's how you got to that AABA form. Yeah. Beautiful balance with it. Yeah. And it kind of, and it sort of rolls together. And that's why it feels like, you don't have to know the AABA form, but that's why it feels like it's never ending, right? The whole thing. So that's it.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
In fact, they even called it, before he came up with the whole concept for the record Maiden Voyage, they just called it TV jingle. That was what he named it.
So we've got, for the second track, Peter, we've got another nautically themed tune.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got a couple here on this album. But we've got Eye of the Hurricane. Now, this to me is like, this is the burner.
Yeah, this is the burner for sure.
On the album. And this got some interesting Nerd Nook stuff in it too, that our friend Jeffrey Keezer's talked about with some of those voicings that Herbie plays. Great. The triple diminished voicing, as it's called.
Right.
But this is also a standard. This is something you got to know.
This is standard. And this is good because people don't call this jam sessions if they can't really play because it's so hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. And it's actually a minor blues, but it's got a vibe to it.
I mean, you got to know the part to play it, though.
Yeah.
That's that triple diminished chord.
Yeah.
Lock in.
Yeah. Oh, swinging. So
just Tony dancing on that ride.
Tony. And the way Freddie started that whole first chorus was kind of like, I'm not really in it yet. I'm warming up into it. And he starts building.
It's like you
stacking.
You guys just get that swing together.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in on it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to just check out a little bit because you were talking about Herbie's voicings.
Oh, yeah. I love where this is going. Those are so crunchy.
Great?
Oh, man, but beautiful voicings, though. Balance is incredible on the chord.
And then we're talking about Tony swinging, dancing, right?
I mean, yeah. I can't think of a more influential
talk about
ride cymbal than Tony Williams.
Ride cymbal, great. Hear the bass drum? Boom. So soft, little feather.
Yeah. Maestro.
Oh, man, the hookup of Tony Williams and Ron Carter on this kind of swing, of course, doing it all the time with Miles Davis Quintet during this period, but check that out.
Yeah, the greatest battery.
Yeah. Oh, dropping bombs.
Woo. Spitting fire.
Yeah. Oh, the the swagger. He's got swag on.
What a sound.
Bit. Oh,
come on. Amazing.
So all the pieces come together, right? Freddie, right to George. George Coleman, such a great player. Catch him while you can. He's still out here doing his thing. Incredibly, 90 years old plus. This was interesting because on this record, George Coleman is the old guy. He's 29. Everybody's in their 20s on this record, except for one, Tony Williams. He's 19.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Herbie's 24. Ron Carter's 27. George Coleman, 29. Freddie's 26. So to put it in perspective, Miles Davis, who's kind of looming over this whole record and this whole band, 38 years old. So almost like a different generation, certainly from Tony. You know what I mean?
That's really interesting. And it's great that you brought up Miles on this track specifically because this is, I think, the most Milesy.
Yeah.
Plug nickel style track on the whole album.
But how different Freddie plays from how Miles plays, right?
The sound itself is like almost a different instrument.
Right.
And then, of course, like all of Freddie's language is it's a whole different approach than what Miles does.
Right.
And it's just beautiful, really beautiful.
Yep. All right, so let's go on and just listen to a little bit. I mean, this whole record, it's just like the tracks are long, but they're so well balanced.
For sure.
Tracks 3 and 4 are kind of known as the weird tracks, and a lot of people skip over them. But I think if you have
I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Well, look, this is the thing. They kind of bridge between the A side and the B side, and so Maiden Voyage the first track, and Dolphin Dance the last track.
Incredible.
The second track, like those are like the standards. Those are the most, I think, listener friendly. Wouldn't you say?
100%. Yeah. Maiden Voyage is like the first Herbie Hancock song most people learn, besides maybe Watermelon Man or Chameleon.
Yeah.
But then Dolphin Dance is like once you learn how to sort of like as a musician, when you're learning how to navigate changes, that's the one the musicians love. Yeah. Because there's a lot of meat to sink your teeth into in Dolphin Dance, which we'll hear in a minute.
Absolutely. It's one of those tunes that teaches you a lot just to learn tune about how to improvise. But the two interior tracks, Little One and Survival of the Fittest, are really cool. They're really weird. They're really long. I mean, Survival of the Fittest is over 10 minutes.
Excellent.
Little One is like 9 minutes long. But Little One is interesting because they recorded this in January of 65 on E.S.P. with Miles Davis, with this exact same group, except without the horn player. Well, with different horn players, Miles Davis and Wayne Shorter, instead of George Coleman and Freddie Hubbard. So let's just listen a little bit first to that version, because 2 months later, they recorded it on this record with this band. So this is Little One from Miles' E.S.P., of course, Herbie as well.
Little one, survival of the fittest. 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 Survival
driving the train. Okay, so that's January.
This is May.
This is May. No, March.
March. Press roll's incredible choice.
Freddie, it's just a different way of playing it, but it's the same tune, right? It's the same spirit. Oh, Tony. Yeah, so like I remember when I first heard this too, it was always like, with the aquatic thing, it was like, I always pictured like being at the bottom of the ocean, like where it's just totally pitch black and there's maybe some little glistening fluorescent fish that ate something radioactive, perhaps.
Steve Zissou-esque.
yeah, you know. But I mean, this is such an atmospheric record. It's such a cool thing. So I encourage everybody, at least when you have some time, don't skip over Little One. And Survival of the Fittest is fantastic. It's got, let me just, I know this wasn't on the original playlist, but
it's pretty killing.
Oh, it's killing. Remember we used to do who was the MVP of the record? Ron Carter? I'm starting to think, is it Ron Carter?
It's Ron Carter. It's Ron Carter on most things Ron Carter's on.
There's so much great, crazy Tony stuff on here, Out of Time. I mean, he's 19 years old. This is crazy.
It's so awesome. Definitely worth a listen. It's not that it's like you don't... Oh, man. It's not a skippable track by any means. It's just long and takes it into some very... Like, Maiden Voyage is a cologne ad.
Yeah.
And this is not.
I know. Yeah. And that's Herbie Hancock, man. He's taking you on a journey, So that's the fourth track. That's the first track on the second side as well, which is super interesting. And that all kind of leads us to Dolphin Dance, which, like, as you said, is probably the song that musicians probably most love, and maybe just general listeners as well. It's so beautiful. Interesting fact that you brought up was that the inspiration for this song, and I think this was from his biography, he certainly has talked about this, was Count Basie's Shiny Stockings. Let's take a listen to that.
Kind of hear it. Imagine there wasn't as much functional harmony here.
Right.
It went into some different places.
This was 1957, so Herbie would have been a teenager. But maybe
this part here specifically.
Right.
And then up a whole step.
Up a whole step, right. Yeah.
Which is just like a 3/6 in this, but then they change keys.
Right.
So that, I think, is the Dolphin Dance inspiration. But I think you're right, and I think Dolphin Dance is the track from this. I mean, Maiden Voyage, I might have just switched my Desert Islands too, because Dolphin Dance, I know Herbie says Maiden Voyage is his favorite of his compositions, but I think Dolphin Dance overall might be my favorite Herbie Hancock composition. I think it's brilliant melody. I think it's a very unique form.
Very unique form, very well balanced. Got some weird stuff in there, but it's got some beautiful, like when I say well balanced, it's got some just beautiful, we're going to listen.
The melody is gorgeous.
Right, but it gets weird.
It does get weird.
It gets a little weird. Let's check it out. Going back to some sus, jumping back to the first track. On a journey. That's some iconic comping right there. Having these big pedal point sections in the middle of the tune, going down a whole step.
shiny stockings.
Right. They're in octaves, right? The melody. Yeah. Oh, listen to the way they phrase the melody together, left and right. Here's the weird part. Woo!
What is that chord?
I know.
And then they
That
just
was like
go
cocky
out.
line. Yeah. Swinging. Doo-da. He's playing swagaliciously right now.
Swagaliciously.
Like you can just see, you know how Freddie would be like. This solo may be a perfect solo up until a certain point.
Oh, let's talk about it.
I mean, it's so,
Are you trying to send Freddie to the Berklee College of Music right now?
No, I feel like he took an extra course, perhaps, but I don't know. This is a long form, too.
It is a long form. Herbie's comping throughout this is a masterpiece.
Oh, so good. This stuff at the end. Oh, that's some iconic.
It's hard when I'm playing this song and soloing to not try to match Freddie's energy.
I know.
Like when it comes back around, I always want to do one of those like kind of
Yeah,
lines.
for sure. Yeah. Anyway, Freddie play. I shouldn't have said that in terms of, but like, to me, it could have ended at the first chorus. But then Freddie's he's playing great stuff. Like I say, like these tracks are long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But they're like, the form is long, the tracks are long, but the playing is at such a high level. Like if you're in the right mood to be listening to it in this way, it's so rewarding.
Let's get into some categories, Peter.
Yeah.
So Desert Island tracks. What do you got?
Well, I've got this one. I've got Dolphin Dance because if I'm on a desert island, some little dolphins dancing by. This is certainly evocative of that. I think the playing's great. It's so beautiful. Like, you know, is it the most challenging stuff on here? Maybe not. Is it even the most beautiful and simple? Maybe that's Maiden Voyage.
It's a great balance,
But to me, this
though.
is the one that's like, I can just listen to it.
I
over
agree.
and over.
I had Maiden Voyage, but I think after listening to both here today, I'm going to switch it to Dolphin Dance. And I reserve the right to change my mind about that.
I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of those.
What's your apex moment for this album?
I think it's Freddie on Maiden Voyage and this particular part. Let's see, can I play? Okay, so in his solo, there's a bunch of great stuff. Freddie Hubbard solo. And I apologize for jumping to the middle, but I want to get right to the apex moment. He's already gone up high and come down.
It's already come down a little bit, yeah.
And you think, oh, there's no more left, right? Oh, a little percolating.
Freddie's always got something to tank.
But this next part.
Oh,
this
yeah. Yeah.
And right here. And then he's like,
talking.
He's like, I got you.
He's shouting, then he's talking.
Oh.
I feel like my uncle just told me a story.
Yeah.
You know?
So great, so great. Yeah, so to me, that's kind of the one, you know. Stop it.
I've just realized we haven't listened to a single Herbie Hancock solo yet on this podcast. But my apex moment is actually Herbie's second chorus in Dolphin Dance. And I wonder if we could we might listen to all of that solo, that piano solo. But his second chorus specifically, I think, is where the whole album apexes for me.
Yeah, let's get to it.
End of George Coleman solo here.
Yeah. These last two pedal points. Down. George ended a little early. Oh.
What I love about Herbie's playing on this album, and every Herbie album, is but especially his own albums, he's so connected with his compositions.
Yes.
He plays very thematically.
Yes.
You're going to hear the tune in his improvisation. Deeply connected.
This solo is so great. Piano and the sound, not so great, but pianist. Oh.
I mean, this is a great chorus, but I think it apexes at the start of the next chorus.
Oh.
Got that pedal point now. The bass is staying on one note while the chords change. And now we're going back for another chorus, and this is the apex to it.
So much classic Herbie vocabulary.
It's so swinging, dude.
Yeah. Oh, and that just gives Tony license back and forth. Loosen. Yep.
He just knows the ins and outs of this form so well.
Yeah. Man, it's like waves coming in. You know, they know how to build, and they're not afraid of going to just one apex moment. I think Freddie really set the tone for it on here, too. Yeah, so...
Incredible.
I think that solo, I would have put that as the best solo on this record, and maybe one of Herbie's greatest solos of all time, had it not been for the piano sound. And we're going to talk about that in a second. And that doesn't take away... I'm just saying, like, how it's recorded. Not how it's recorded, like how it ends up being. It's so, his playing is so amazing that it's still there. And I don't want to, like, put a wah, wah, wah on this or anything. But I do feel like the quality of the sound and how it's captured and presented on the recording is a big part of the solo. You know what I mean? Like his playing, I mean, Herbie did everything he could do. And I know some people love that sound, but to me, that keeps it from getting to that point. Because I'm a pianist, I can imagine, I've heard Herbie live.
Well, let's talk about it.
I can fill in the blanks.
So this is a Rudy,
I don't want to have to.
A Rudy Van Gelder recording.
Yeah.
And Rudy Van Gelder recordings notoriously have what I call the hollow piano sound.
Yeah.
There's this like curve somewhere in the EQ where they're taking out a big bunch of the meat of the piano sound. Yeah. And so you get this sound on the piano that sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like water drops plunking.
Yeah.
Or like, it's like there's like a glass bell around the piano or something. There's it's a weird effect that happens specifically on Rudy Van Gelder recordings. Yeah. Now, he does that to make way for things like the bass and the drums, and those usually sound incredible.
I mean, on what we just heard, like if the piano had sounded as good and as accurate and as full as the drums on here, that would have been it's still some of the most amazing playing. I mean, it's not like it's that bad that it ruins it. It's not, but
especially in this time, before anything digital, you have this like sonic spectrum of sound, and I'm not the person to go on a deep dive on this, but you do have to make compromises if you want to bring one instrument out or the other, because they're in sonic competition. That's right. So they'll be in regions in the same area where they're kind of canceling each other out. So oftentimes you'll EQ one or the other, or you can do panning, or you can do different things in the mix. But in this case, Rudy Van Gelder, the piano also just has all of these overtones that are swirling around all the time. So it's a very it takes up a lot of sonic ground, and so Rudy Van Gelder's solution was to like notch out a bunch of full parts. And I know
I just don't think that's the solution. And I mean, I think you have records like this is what keeps some of these records from being on that like better than KOB to me in a way, is because of the piano sound. Because the
KOB sound 6 years before this, incredible,
everything. And you can't say, oh well, they had to compromise on drums.
No,
so anyway,
compromised.
It's not it's not that huge of a deal. But to me, it's shocking, like how great. That's the other thing. Like when you have the sound so well dialed in. I mean, like that Tony sound.
It's crazy.
That, George Coleman and Freddie Hubbard, he's got them heavy pan left and right, but so beautifully. So like when you're hitting that A tier, S tier, what's the highest tier?
S tier.
S tier, yes sir.
Boomer.
Boomer. Okay, boomer. S tier on everything else. Like if you're just kind of like mid on everything, then this piano sound would be fine. But it's like it's amplified. to me, a little bit of the deficiencies by how great he nailed everything else.
And it's interesting because it's very divisive. A lot of people love this sound.
Yeah.
A lot of people search for this sound to get like that.
It's a bespoke sound for sure.
It's a very specific. I think once a sound has been around for a long, and it's on such great music, like these classic albums.
That's right.
It just becomes like, oh, that's the sound of classic Blue Note albums or classic Van Gelder recordings, and we should pay respect to how good those albums are, and people just search for that sound. But you're right, it's not the best. It's not the greatest representation, especially on a pianist album.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Okay, Bespoke.
But incredible solo. Good pick on that.
Bespoke Spotify playlist. What do you got?
Jazz aquatic.
Or
aquatic jazz.
The jazz aquatic.
Yeah. I don't know what else would be on that playlist.
With Herbie Zissou. Okay, great.
Herbie Zissou.
I have hollow ass pianos.
Actually, that is not what you have. Do you want to?
What do I have?
Whack ass piano sounds.
Whack ass piano sounds.
Well, either one. It's all good.
What's up next?
I mean, Empyrean and Isles, the record before this.
That's what I have too.
E.S.P. that they recorded a couple months before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Great fits.
Yeah.
Quibble Bits. I think we both have the same one that we just talked about. Yeah. The piano sound.
Don't let that stop you from enjoying the record. And you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm right. You know what I mean?
There's no wrong or right. Like I said, it's subjective. The sound.
Right.
Yeah. It's an artistic choice.
Yeah. Snobometer.
I have 3. It's for a jazz album. It's, I think, very accessible. There are a couple tracks that are very snobby.
Exactly. That's why I went with 5, because half of the record.
You always go with 5.
No, I mean in terms of number of minutes, half of the record is 10, and half the record is 1.
I will concede that. That is it's a little. Maybe it's a 4.
I'm like, finally, I you
got it. I think you
better than KOB.
No.
But you know what? I'm gonna plant this flag in the sand. Line in the sand, flag in the ground. I'm combining both those metaphors. I'm gonna say that like, if the piano sound was better dialed in, for me, and that, like you're right, it's a subjective thing. I think this record would have been at or possibly better than KOB in some ways.
You think if it sounded like KOB, it would be closer?
Well, no, it didn't have to sound like that, but just, if the sound.
But let's say it did sound like KOB.
Yeah.
The instruments were dialed in like KOB.
It's hard to say, but I think the sound is making such a big impact on me more than when I was younger. When it was like, oh, what is Herbie playing on this? What is McCoy? It's like that's part of it, what they're playing, but it's also how is it presented.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Accoutrements.
I put 8, but now that I'm looking at this, I'm gonna have to say 9.
I got 10, man. I can't imagine a better.
You're so good at hit. Why do I not hit the 10? Because I'm always like,
if that's not a 10, especially with this is, I love that we have the albums for this, which I think we're going to try to have on every episode, the actual vinyl album, because the back makes it a 10. Herbie's weird Sequest.
I know, it's true.
Narrative here and the liner notes from Nora Kelly.
Is it a perfect album cover? Because that's why I'm afraid to give it a 10. If everything's a 10.
This is an amazing album cover.
That's
an amazing album cover.
It's a 9.
It looks like how the music sounds.
Yeah.
And then the back with the old school Blue Note fonts here. It's just perfect.
So every Blue Note record's a 10 then?
No, not true. But this one is.
Okay. We'll say 9.5. We're going to average it out as 9.5.
Until next time.
You'll hear it. Thank you.